Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of Dragon's Dogma, the Double Dwarven playthrough, and this is going to be the final episode of the playthrough. Now, I just did the editing of all the footage of the final sections of the game. We're going to do both endings, the ending of Bitter Black Isle, as well as the ending of the game itself. And before I go ahead and just go on with those particular clips, I would just like to say that since the ending of the game consists mostly of cutscenes, as well as the daemon fight has some really gorgeous soundtrack, as well as it's got conversations throughout the fight, as in you hear the voice of the spirit of Bitter Black Isle, as well as the voice of the boss kind of discussing with you. And I was just thinking that I feel that this particular episode doesn't really require that much commentary, which is the reason why this final episode is just a string of basically cutscenes and fights. And to be completely honest, it's like there's only one fight in this episode, and that is the daemon fight. And I got it right on my first try when I went there. Like the first time that I went there, like on the previous episode, I died a whole bunch of times, but this time around, I got there first try, got him. Now, a lot of you guys are not going to like the way that I killed Diamond. I know this for a fact, but at the end of the day, I will also tell you guys that I was getting incredibly frustrated as to how poorly the game treats melee-oriented characters. Because you guys will see that I went into this fight this time around, I went in there with two plans. And you guys will clearly notice when I switch the plan, which I think is going to be when you guys are going to be like, well, I guess this is when Rurikhan basically got tired of the game's treating melee like shit and basically just wrecked Damien's face, because that's pretty much what I did. Because here's the thing, like I got really frustrated, okay, because I had the character, I played as an assassin throughout most of my levels all the way up to 100, and what does this do? For those of you who don't know about this, what this does is basically it has the highest strength scaling of the game. That means that that particular character is going to be making the most strength-based damage, hands down, it can possibly do up until that point. The only thing that would give me more damage, more physical damage, would be if I was to like get a little bit better gear or something like that. And please note that the sword that I am using there is, at least in my opinion, is a lot better than the bow. Because I'm going to use two weapons throughout that fight. I'm going to use a sword and I'm going to use a bow. And you guys will notice clearly when I'm getting tired of the way that the game mechanics works, because you will notice the switch during that fight. And I just wanted to tell you guys that it's like, I just feel that there are better ways of handling melee in Dragon's Dogma. And it doesn't need to be so skewed towards ranged. I feel the game is heavily, and I do mean heavily, skewed towards ranged. And melee is just like, I mean, in the place before the final boss, like the mobs were doing more damage than the boss itself. I'm not even kidding you. Like those mobs were one-shotting me. Like those pawn mobs, the guys with the two-handed swords, they would literally one-shot me. Like you miss one block, boom, dead. And it's like, it stopped being fun after a while. And when I got to the boss and I start hitting on him, and here's the thing, I got all of these augments that increase my strength. I got an augment that increases my damage done with base skills, which is the ferocity augment, I think. I got the augment that reduces my stamina consumption. I got basically everything squeezed out to make as much damage as possible. The one thing I didn't do is use parry-apps, because I was like, man, I don't think I should need to go that far, particularly because this is only the first run through of Bitter Black Isle. But anyways, I went through it, and it just got to a point where I was like, you know what? You want me to play range? I'll play range. I pulled out blast arrows. Yeah, that's what I did. 5-fold flurry, blast arrows. Like, I nuked him down to half health with 50 arrows. And then I loaded a whole bunch of more arrows, and I shot a whole bunch more into him. I didn't use blast arrows to do the entire fight, and to be really honest, I almost wish I hadn't used blast arrows at all, because I could have taken him out with a bow a lot easier than I could ever take him out with melee. It's just the risk-reward thing in terms of melee in this game is heavily skewed towards ranged. And I had been noticing that for a couple of episodes now. It's just on this particular episode, I just got really frustrated, because it's like, look, my character has the most things it can possibly have to deal the most amount of damage possible. I removed every single thing I had that was defensive and replaced it with something that was offensive. Like, it was offense all the way, man. Like, every single item that gave me strength, I'm wearing it. Like, I'm wearing the boots that give strength. I'm wearing the cloak that gives strength. I'm wearing a ring that gives strength. I'm just like, I'm buffed up to the max. And I get to the boss and I'm barely scratching him. And then I pull out my bow, which again, like I said, the bow that I have is inferior to the sword I have. I pull out my bow, 5-fold flurry, load up some blast arrows, boom. It was like a nuclear bomb exploded on the boss's face. So I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed with that fight. But anyways, like I said, there's not going to be any commentary from this point onward. It's just going to be the episode itself with both the endings of Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen as well as the ending of Vanilla Dragon's Dogma. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave me your comments, feedback, all that stuff as you watch through the video itself. At the end of the video, I'm going to show both credits, and I would advise you to stay for a little bit on the first credits at least. Then you guys can click away if you want to, or if you want to watch the credits all the way, that's up to you. But the reason I say this is because it's going to show random pawns that showed up throughout my playthrough. I thought that was kind of weird. It isn't even showing up the pawns that I was using at the end of the game. It's just some random pawns that I've used throughout the playthrough. So anyways, I thought that was kind of neat, so you guys can check that out. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Enjoy.
I have raised and wrought destruction. Naught shall remain. Repent the folly of ascribing meaning to the void. Naught shall remain. Fall, molten, and be gone.
Met him. He was my master, though it was 100 lifetimes past. When he came to face the dragon, he was given a choice too hard, too cruel to make. He could live with neither answer, and so he offered only a curse in reply. Those words saw him become the monster he is now. In granting him the cursed form he chose, the worm had held to its bargain, and I was the price. I was his pawn, and his beloved besides. Please, you must free him. to shatter the bonds of hate that keep him here. And if freedom is beyond his reach, pray offer him at least a peaceful end.
Cycle that it is, yet even still,
Still-hearted kinsman, you have my thanks. To destroy is simpler than to create, and harder still is to see aught to fruition, to end it rightly. The infinite chain is yours, Arisen, to grant measure, to give what shape you will. And I, at last, can step beyond its span. My Greta, dearest Aura. I fancied myself a strong man, strong enough to protect someone, strong enough to love someone. I longed to prove it, to myself as much as any other. Longed to show that I could give aught back and not simply take. And yet, in that moment, I chose to cast it all away. Though I cursed the world, what was writ true in my soul was an apology to you and our master who fostered a soul within you.
You have not left to prove, my sweet, for I have known your love, and know it still. I have e'er wished nothing more than to share in your world, be it within the endless chain or beyond. Let us find our place together.
Hello. Yes, at last. At last you've gathered the whole of them. With them, you can summon forth a rift of considerable power. This rift, born of the Wakestone's power, will guide you forward, Arisen. I fear there will be no returning to this place. Are you prepared to journey on? End this, Arisen. May the world be put right by your hand.
Well met, Arisen. I'll not waste time on rhetoric. Defeat me, and take my place as keeper of this world. You saw it awaiting you at the end of your descent. Aye, The same world you've traveled to arrive at this place. A world you may well now inherit. It is a simple proposition, no different than any you've faced. You need only the will to claim what is offered you. The will to survive.
Yes, fight, Arisen, as you e'er have fought in coming here. What is it that impels you? What force spurs you on? What sustained your wanderings and led you here? I ask, what is it that makes you alive? 'Tis volition, unbending will. You are here because you willed it, Arisen. That alone has brought you here.
Consider the infinite potential. Just as you call forth pawns, so I command all life into existence. Call it divine creation if you must, but expect none of the mercy men seek in their gods. This is cold truth, the unbending reality of a world without compassion. The world and all its denizens are but empty vessels. In that regard, no different than the pawns. Without volition, there is no true life. The world falls stagnant, dead as an ocean with no current to guide it. That volition is tempered by the struggle for survival. The decision, just like yours, to fight. Just as the pawns need a master's command, so the world thirsts for the will to live.
Let us continue, Arisen. Show that you are more than an empty vessel, animated by forces unseen. Show that the temper of your soul is strong enough to command far more than mere pawn. Show that your will is fit to bind the fraying circle of this world and hold it fast. Fight tooth and claw. Struggle now and cling to life. Show that living holds worth enough to fight for.
It is time to decide. Will you claim your right as Arisen? Or shrug the burden and seek peace in oblivion? Just so. One foot after the next, come what may. That is what it means to live. Turn back now, and I will grant you a merciful death. The choice is yours, Arisen. Yours alone.
'Tis a simple choice, Arisen. Step forward or retreat. Accept the quiet emptiness of a false peace, a false life.
Then you would choose peace. That too is about my fate.
Why not put an end to it? praises of the quiet life are sung far too infrequent. That's a mite harsh, aye. Ever the noble, you.
You're not without a home to return to. Why? What is it drives you so?
My! 'Tis too great an honor for one of my stature.
Why this hesitation, sir? You've ought to protect, do you not? This is your answer.
I would say to rest a while yet, but just as likely would turn deaf. Instead, I ask only that you keep us in mind now and again.
I was always so afraid. You seemed the reluctant for someone I could not follow. The sight of those I loved. All I ever asked.
You are close now. So very close to me.
Come, Arisen. I shall meet you on your own terms, joined by my own companions of old. You stand now at its end, Arisen. See your journey through. To survive. Be victorious. Temper your soul in its heat. The forge of my heart grows cold. The world shivers. Vital. Know this. These masses, cold and empty.
Prepares his massive attack.
Arisen, forgive me. All I've done is to test your will. It is the fate of all Arisen. You and I are swept up in the current, same as the rest. Each tempers the volition of the next, and the endless cycle continues. And so, until the coming of a new soul fit to craft the will to live, someone like you. Until that day, may you guide the world ever justly. I present you with the Godsbane blade. Those who arise to oversee this world are undying, save by this brand's kiss. ask that you, as the world's new seneschal, use it now to vouchsafe freedom to your weary servant.
Rifts are but gateways linking distant places, slivers of a world far more vast.
New crown sovereign and keeper of eternity, grant me now this single boon. The fire of my life is spent in guttering. Give me freedom with the kiss of the Godspeed blade. If there is aught you wish to know afore my death, you need but ask. My knowledge, as my all, is yours to take. What would you hear of me? The Seneschal is steward to the world. The world you traveled now rests in your care. Just as the Arisen calls upon into being and sets them to motion, the Seneschal holds dominion over all living things. There are those who would call such a being Maker or God. I cannot deny the claim any more than affirm it. In the end, they are but words. Call it what you will. Such is the office I have served, just as those before me and you beyond unto eternity. The pawns exist astride the rift. They speak of a multitude of worlds, each infinite unto itself. Limitless in span and lost to time, these worlds extend in an eternal, perfect loop. Just as a ring lacks start and end, so this world has no origin, no final terminus. If it does, they lie beyond our ken. We are prisoners of unpassing time, wandering an unending land. What lies beyond, we cannot know. As we die, there is life in the world, and with it death. Naught lasts forever. Each rises and falls in its time. But such is a death akin to that of ponds. They appear in this world and vanish, only to appear again, like bubbles in a mountain spring. As so it is with all that lives within this eternal world. In time, you will come to see it happen under your watch, Seneschal. Each beast, each blade of grass, each human life is born to die and be born again in endless rhythm. Naught lasts forever, yet all persists unto eternity. At will is that which led you to this place, and that which turns the eternal wheel of the world. Along the endless string of life and death, there are some born with a hunger. They yearn for some other, better place. They are the Arisen, nascent fountainheads of will. And so the dragon is sent into the world to guide the Arisen, and refine them, to temper their wills into aught capable of sustaining the world. And so the cycle of our world has e'er continued. Mourn me not, for I welcome the release. At long last, I am free of eternity, of infinity, free of the cruel, unending ring.
So just a little side note here, after you guys become the Seneschal, it actually allows you to freely go to both Casardis and Gran Soren, but you're going to be invisible, which is why you guys are seeing this right now. Basically, I just showed you guys a little bit of me roaming around Gran Soren. Casardis, and then I'll show you a little bit of me roaming around Gran Soren as well. I just thought it was kind of weird. Here's the thing, though. You can't interact with people, like you can't speak with them, but you can kill them, you can throw them off cliffs, you can do all kinds of crazy stuff. So, if you were ever looking forward to just like messing around and not really get caught, I guess this is the time to do it. Basically, just head out there, have as much fun as you possibly can, and just kill a bunch of people, do not kill a bunch of people, spy on people. I don't know. I didn't really understand what was the point in it. So yeah. Anyways, enjoy the rest of the video. There's still a couple of more things to come.
No! Master!
You're like me, aren't you? As my grandmother gave me life, he gave you yours. They gave us death, and with it, true life. This is the world he wanted for us.